Alright, let's get started. Yesterday I discovered a program. It's called Artweaver 5. Um, this is a website where you can download it. You can actually download it for free, but it works a lot like Photoshop, I found. It's got a lot of the same features, and it can be used for free. So you'll see a plus version here, which if you decide that you want the plus version, it's like, I think it's like 30 something dollars. I can show you, depending on where you live. It's $33.30 in the US, which is still better than Photoshop, and that gives you up to 4 licenses, which is really not bad. Or you can use the free version, and it's absolutely free. It's got a limited function, but it's mostly for academic use, which is basically what we do on Teach. So this would be very acceptable for what you're going to use, and I will go and show you the different layouts here in a second. But I just really want to show you how they work. And I'm going to start by showing you both programs. You'll see that there's not a lot of difference. Okay, this is the Artweaver 5, and I can actually use this for 30 days. After the 30 days, I won't be able to save or export or save presets or print documents. But for the test, I can show you this one. But you'll see this has a lot of the same layout as Photoshop. It uses layers. It's got your color set here. You can even adjust things here. It has layers. It has image mode, adjustments, a lot like Photoshop does. I'm actually going to exit this one, and I'm going to open the free one just because most of you are going to use the free one to start out. But this is a great program to start out to decide if Photoshop is for you. I think in some aspects this is a little bit easier to learn, but it does not have the extensive features that Photoshop has. It's very basic. But if you're wanting something very basic and free, this would work for you fine. So I'm going to actually open a photo. Let's do this one. It's a pretty photo. No, let's not do that one. I don't know why it's got the gradient there, because I don't remember seeing that in the other one. Let's pick a photo. And it may just be because it's blown up so large. Let's do this one. What T414? I know that's it. Oh, 1.8. Okay, that's a little better. So, we're going to start this out just the same way we do Photoshop. If you needed to make adjustments, say to your levels or things like that, you could go up to a image and adjustments, and you'll see one here that says levels. We'll go ahead and click on that, and it looks very similar to. I mean, it's even got an auto input. You can manually adjust. But it's very similar. On this particular photo, though, I'm actually not going to adjust anything. It looks pretty good as it is. It does. You can even do auto levels this way. You're always going to make sure that it's either desaturated or it's gray tone. I usually just push desaturate. And the difference in Photoshop and this one, and it took me a minute to find it, is if you'll notice the other one had a lot more features here, but this one doesn't. But your brush tool is actually up here. This is your brush tool. And you can actually go down, and it's got several different paints and pastels and sponges, and I mean just all kinds of little tools here. I think for this one, let's use oil pastels. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a layer. This new layer. And it's going to have a blend mode here. So we're going to go down to soft light. We're going to go ahead and start that. So there's our new layer right here. You see it right there. And we're going to go, and I could have just clicked down here as well for a new layer. And I probably will from now on. You may not even see me do it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually zoom in. And I know I saw it right there. So this little magnifying glass allows you to zoom in. And you'll see at the top it says print size, fit on screen, actual pixels. But I just want to zoom in so that I can see it a little better. Over here by your brush, remember we picked oil pastels, but you can actually change how you want your brush to look here. You can also change it over here. I'm just going to leave it on this one for the tutorial. So we're going to pick a color. I want it somewhere in the teal family. So then I'm going to go over here until I find one I like. And I kind of like that one. I actually want this kind of round. And as you'll see, and this is something that's a little different. And it took me a little bit when I was looking at the program to see. I couldn't understand why it was like that. I really honestly don't know why they did it like this. I guess it's so that you can get more bold colors than you normally would. But let me show you what I'm talking about. I noticed when I was looking up here at the brush, it's got the opacity at like 90. On some of these you'll see, depending on what you pick, it'll be down here at like 10. And if you turn it up, it's going to be a very, very, very bright color. So I've left it at what it is. If I decide that I need a little opacity over here, I can always turn the opacity down here. So I think that's more like on Photoshop, that's probably a lot similar to what our flow is. But, and I got over on her hand there. I'm going and erase that. But, it seems to be a very functional program. Like I said, it works a lot like Photoshop. It's not as system heavy as Photoshop, I've noticed. With Photoshop, a lot of times it just, even with my computer, it'll lag sometimes. It takes forever for it to catch up, or it wants to be slow where I need it to be fast for what I'm doing. And that in itself is a downside to me with Photoshop. But this one, and I love the fact that this one's free. That's absolutely amazing because, teaching students, I get a variety of people. I know personally when I first started out, I did not want to pay a bunch of money for a program that I didn't even know if I could use. And that was the main thing. And I think a lot of people just starting out and wanting to learn Photoshop or wanting to learn how to color photos, they don't want to spend that money. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't either. There's a lot of things. I'm very impulsive. And a lot of times I will purchase things that I never use. So, like I said, I completely understand not wanting to pay $20, $30, $30 for something that I may never use or maybe never be able to learn. Photoshop did make it to where you could have like a monthly fee, and that's what I do now. But seeing this program, I really do like it. I think it works a lot faster, and it flows so easily, as you can tell. It's got a really good flow to it. But let me go ahead and clean up these edges. This is just one that I'm doing for test, but we don't want it to look all ugly. Sorry, y'all. My cat is trying to play with my hand while I'm coloring. So, that's too much. I need to take the brush sides down a little bit. I think we can manage. Okay, so let's zoom back out on this, just so we can see how well that turned out. And it's got the hue and adjustments. If you decide, I just don't know. I don't know that I like that color as well. You can always change the hue and saturation. just on that one. Give it a darker color or a brighter color or a different color even. Kind of like, I like a little more green. And you can't tell a real big difference, but it does. It does have a little difference to it. And let's see about this. You can duplicate the layers to give a little more brilliance. Just like you can on Photoshop, it gives you the delete layer, duplicate layer, layer properties, which is so you can change the name and things like that. So let's go down here. We're going to start a new layer. I can see where I missed some now. Let me go back on this. Delete layer. Yes. I see where I missed some. Zoom. Edit. Undo brush tool. Undo brush tool. There we go. And I'm going to take my brush size down a little bit. Okay. There. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and double this layer again. That'll be good. Anyhow, I'm just going in and cleaning some of this up where I didn't get real close in. Like I said, this is just a test image, but there's no need for it to look badly. So, now that we've got that kind of taken care of, where's my brush? Okay, let's go ahead and start a new layer. I'm going to zoom back out now. We'll go on to the next part. And I think the seat would look pretty as like a light pink, or maybe even like a yellow. Let's see how light pink looks. About like that. I'm actually going to zoom in again. I like to zoom in because it really helps you get those tight areas a little better. So let's go ahead and color that. I forgot to change the layer to soft color or soft light. So I was wondering why it wasn't showing through. But I mean, it seems to flow so beautifully without a lot of the lag that I see in Photoshop a lot. Like I said, there are lots of different, I mean, not a lot, not as many as Photoshop. Photoshop has a lot of brushes. But, I mean, for a free program, this one does have a good amount of different brushes to play with, and that you don't have to download, that just come with the program. It allows you to make adjustments to the brushes. You can change the grain, the cover. I mean, you can really, it allows you to do a lot of things that I really I hadn't expected, I'll be honest, I hadn't expected with Photoshop or with Artweaver because, you know, Photoshop has pretty much marketed those, you know, by making such a high-end program that we're not used to seeing those types of things in other programs. I'll just put it that way. We've gotten so used to using Photoshop for everything that, you know, it really, to be a good program, that's a lot what we judge it on is Photoshop, and does it have the same features? Can I do the same things? So, and most programs just don't add up. They just don't have the same capacity to do those things. So, you know, and looking at it, that's a lot of the reason why most of them don't live up to a lot of the hype that we expect, and it's because Photoshop is a great program, but this one is obviously, I mean, it's a great program too. I don't see anything with it that would make me say no, just do not use this program. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's a free program. Oops, that was wrong. It's a free program. I mean, and it offers a lot of the same features. So I just don't see how you can go wrong with that. And I'm actually going to change the opacity on this and kind of turn it down a little bit. I don't want it lime pink. Maybe something a little more like that. Just enough that the pink shows. But I think that's beautiful. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer. We're going to go up and we're going to do her hair. And I think she's probably a mid between a brunette and a blonde. Maybe something like this. So let's zoom in and we'll start on this. I've got to remember to turn it soft light. Honestly, I'm used to using Photoshop, and Photoshop asks you when you start a new layer what you want to do with it. That's a little more yellow, really, than I wanted. I really wanted something a little bit darker. But I think we can make it work. You know, just for this little tutorial here. I think it's fine. Maybe even a little bit too saturated for what we're using it for. But I can always turn that down. But I mean, all in all, this seems to be a very good program. Like I said, it's just a lot more than I expected it to be. Let's tone that down a little bit. Maybe about like that. And we'll go into a brown. Do a new layer. I'm actually going to take my brush size up some. That's a little too big. Okay. Let's zoom out and have a look. Image adjustments and saturation. That's a little better. And I do like that. It kind of gives the light reflections here. I could actually go back in and do some more there, but I'm not. Like I said, this is just a tester, but I just wanted to kind of show you what it is capable of doing. Let's do this like a very pretty blue. I don't even know if this will take. It may not. It seems to be. And then we'll make a new layer. And do this. Okay, and then the next thing, let's do her skin. So let's zoom out. And let's do her skin. So let's create a new layer. And do soft light. And I kind of played with this the other day. Because, you know, skin tone is not, a lot of times, not the easiest thing to get going real well. You know, it can be very, very difficult to get the right shade. Like that looks way too orange to me. So I'm going to erase it. Okay. Maybe about like that. And I'm actually going to take my brush size up just a hair. That's a little too light. As I said, it can be a little bit more difficult to get just the right zoom where I can see a little better. And that actually is a pretty good color for her. It's still a little pale, but we can actually adjust that. We can go in and do another layer, or we can add a layer and then adjust that layer. I mean, you don't want it orange, but you don't want her skin to be less saturated than the rest of her as well. So you want to make sure you get all of that on an even keel there. And I'm not really going to go into shading and all of that on this video. This is basically just showing you the basics And the reason I'm not is because I have so many Photoshop videos that show you how to do the same things. If you need one, I mean, by all means, let me know and I will do one for you. I'm not opposed to that, but that would make this an extremely long video to do all that today in one video, as I'm sure you know. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know that I try to be pretty in-depth. So, I mean, you know how long they can get if I try to do it all at once. But see, that's not a bad color. And if I duplicated it, I think it would probably look a lot better. See. It just gives her a pretty tone. I'm going to actually, I think, adjust that just a tad. Just a tad. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go in, add a new layer, make it soft light. We're going to go in and we're going to do like her lips and things. And we're going to go in and, which I missed a few places I see now, but I think it'll be okay. Let me go back here. That happens. You will find that a lot when you color, like, unless you get really, really close, you're going to find places where there's little spots that you miss that will drive you nuts. And you'll spend all day trying to correct these. And I do it myself. It drives me nuts when they do that. I don't like to miss places. But anyhow, that's pretty good. Okay. Okay, so go up, go to our new layer. All right, let's pick a color for her lips. And I think something about that color is going to be very pretty. Don't worry, I'm going to go around and clean this up. Okay. After I turn this way down. Still too big. Still too big. Maybe we need to stick with the two. Yeah, that's a little better. So I just want to clean those edges up some. Okay, and then I need to go back and fix this. Okay. Still don't like that, the way that looks. Like that. And that's a lot better. I'm here. Start a new layer. About like that. And I'm going to have to take my brush size way down, like maybe a 1 or maybe not that much, but we'll see. Alright, and new layer. And I want to do her eyebrows, so do maybe 3. Get her eyebrows. All right, new layer. I'm not going to do her eyes. They look really, really dark. Let's do a brown. Just do them like that color. You can't really see a lot of her eyes, but we're going to go ahead and do on this color, just so that she's got a little coloring there. All right, and new layer. Like this color. And I'm going to make my brush a lot bigger. When I do like cheeks and things like that, I like to do them the actual color. It's a lot bigger than I intended, but about the size of the cheekbone. With this one, it's a little bit harder to see, but that's actually a pretty good shape. I'm going to take it down just a hair. But I actually like that as a skin color. Let me go out and look at this a little bit, because if so, I may go back over her skin color. And I do that. Yeah, I actually do. So I'm going to go over her skin color again. Give this one. Wait a minute. I may not. I may have spoke too soon. See how red it makes her? No, I don't like that. So I'm going to delete this layer and start new. But it looks good as a cheek color. Sometimes it's hard to tell. So we're going to do another one, and we're going to do it as soft light. And we're going to go in and put her some color into those cheeks. And I know she looks really awkward right now, but it's not my intention. Okay. And she don't need it all the way up to her eyes. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change the opacity way down so it kind of blends better. About like that. Okay. Then we're going to create a new layer. And I need to go in and do her nails. So we're going to zoom there. Because as you can tell, her nails are painted. We're going to give her a pretty reddish color. Okay. And I want to clean those up. I really don't know if I like this color, so let me zoom out and have a look. That actually doesn't look bad. Let's go in and do a ring. Okay, so create another layer. Soft light. Basically, I mean, my intent for this video is basically just to show you how great of a program this is and how much like Photoshop it is. That you can do a lot of the same things that you would normally do on there. And then I need a color for this back wall, and I really want kind of a neutral tone, but I want something that's not the same color as her hair to kind of help bring her out some. So maybe like a lavender. We'll see how that looks. I might want it bigger because I've got a lot more area to cover. And I think that looks absolutely beautiful. So, going to zoom out, make sure I got everything. And it seems like I did, so. And it does. It looks great. Really does. I'm going to combine all my layers now. And I'm going to look at some of the filters. We have a couple of blur filters. We've got a distort filter, a noise filter, rendering filters, sharpening filters, some different styling filters, and some texture filters. But I think on this one I'm just going to use a small Gaussian blurred. Oh, that's too much. I don't like that. Let's do small blur. And it just may not look good with that. And there are times that that's the case. Let's do 8. And that looks good. So I'm going to save this. So save as. I'm actually going to save it to my desktop. But you see how it's going to have different things here. You can even save it as a Photoshop photo. But it's got JPEGs. It's got PNGs. I mean, it's really got a lot of different stuff here that you'll see. So I don't see a problem with this one. So I'm just going to save this to my desktop, and it'll give me the option of the quality here, and it'll even tell me how big this file size is going to be, which is something that's very nice. But anyways, this is my tutorial on Artweaver. I believe this one's 5, and this is the free version. If you have any questions or you need any help, just please comment or ask me some questions. Come over to Teach Me to Color over on Facebook. We'll be happy to help you. Thank you.